Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer.
Good Friday morning, and the battle for Speaker continues. Kevin McCarthy losing round after round. We're on number 11 now?
12.
For a third day. But is there progress right around the corner? Because Kevin McCarthy keeps saying that after every vote is taken. He walks into the chamber to his speaker's office, which he already moved his furniture into. And reporters, a gaggle of reporters are there asking him, is tomorrow the day? What's going to change? But one is enough. One of the holdouts, Lauren Boebert, suggested somebody else and nominated somebody else, another Kevin.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Colorado rise?
Madam Clerk, I rise to nominate Kevin Hern of Oklahoma for Speaker of the House.
Who? The gentlewoman is recognized.
It's as simple as that, folks. Let's start getting somewhere with this. Realize the facts. Kevin McCarthy does not have the votes. Let's elect a Republican who can unify our conference, who is a true leader. I'm casting my vote for Kevin Hern, and I hope you will as well.
And as many of you know, Matt Gaetz nominated.
Hey.
Your guy.
That's right.
Former President Trump.
The Don.
And so I rise to nominate Donald Trump for the position of Speaker of the House. And for all of the vitriol that we hear from the media and at times the left, there were great moments of bipartisanship under the Trump presidency. And the Democrat nominee for Speaker knows that well because he led valiantly on the efforts for criminal justice reform, and I was honored to join him. And I know no matter who's sitting in that Speaker chair, we got a lot of work to do on that very issue.
So let's get to it and get behind a candidate, Kevin McCarthy. Seems like the clear choice. But joining us now is Bret Baier. Busy man. He's been on Fox News constantly. And Mr. Baier, do you have details on the one way that McCarthy can still become Speaker if GOP rebels don't budge?
Good morning. I think that the one way it happens is attrition. And that is that as you head into the weekend, more and more people don't show. And the people that don't show are people that either Democrats or people in the 20. And the magic number goes from 218 to half of the quorum. And McCarthy manages to cobble together that number. That's the way, math-wise. Other than that, writing down the concessions in a specific rule package takes 72 hours. And from everything we can tell, it's in the process. It hasn't come out yet. So you're looking into next week before this gets done. In addition to that, this weekend has a lot of Democratic and Republican fundraisers in places like Deer Valley and Colorado, and they want to do that. So I wouldn't be surprised if you have one vote today and then they adjourn until Monday.
So, but if Kevin McCarthy, because I see the list here of concessions that he's made, if he gives them everything they ask for, does that weaken the speakership?
Yes, 100%. And there's another backlash that's possible, and that is the Kevin McCarthy backers who believe that he's given too much. And, they say, we've been with you all along, and now you're giving all of these, 20 rebels, if you want to call them that, all that they want on committees and stipulations. So it's a fine line, and it has to wrap up soon, but so far, there's not an alternative that has stepped up and said, I'm going to be the person.
So who's going to blink first, though? These 20 rebels or, somebody calling them the Taliban 20. They have all sorts of group titles, that's for sure. Are they going to blink first, or do you think someone in the 201 majority?
I think it's a good question. All 20 of them are now raising money back in their districts. They have a lot of supports, a populist kind of support saying change the system. But at some point, and Kim Strassel has a piece in the Wall Street Journal today saying, okay, you have got your concessions. You are clearly changing the way the House operates. You need to take your ball. and move on. And at some point, that tip will happen. And the question is whether the McCarthy backers stand by McCarthy. So far, every indication is that they're going to. So you're still at a standoff. You're still at a game of chicken. I think we're heading towards the back end of it, not the beginning of it.
Wow. Let's just hope it doesn't happen like it happened in 1856.
Where they voted for how many times?
133 votes.
133.
Okay, but who won?
Nathaniel Banks of Massachusetts.
Thank you. That's fine.
And then don't forget, later that year, remember Sumner and I believe it was Brooks got into that fight. He got hit in the head with the pipe.
Oh.
that was a lot. It was a little contentious back then.
But back then they didn't have 24-hour cable service.
True.
Nothing. So there's one congresswoman from, I forget her name, I think it's Cameron from Florida, who said that Democrats are eating popcorn and drinking on the House floor. Is that true?
I don't know about the drinking, and Democrats got very upset about that accusation, telling her to strike it from the record. That was Representative Kamek, and from Florida. So, and they do have blankets, and but the drinking threw them into a rage.
But this is kind of turning into a clown show, don't you think? I mean, with Matt Gaetz, nominating President Trump to be speaker. I mean, do they realize that this is looking a little silly at this point in time?
Yes, I think they do, but there's this sense that people will forget it in the long run, and the House will move on, and it's good for democracy to change things up. That's their pitch. But I think that there is some broader hurt in that every vote, every ballot, Democrats have 212. They're very unified, and they seem much more organized. And I think there is this chaotic feeling that if this is what this looks like, what does legislating under a Republican House look like?
Yeah.
Imagine those 20, having to negotiate with Chuck Schumer. It's going to be a little tough.
All right, and then
Debt ceiling and other things.
Right, they say they don't trust him, because he's made all these concessions. Why don't they trust Kevin McCarthy?
It's a good question. I think it's a personality for some of them. Kevin McCarthy has not done significant things legislating. He hasn't been a chairman of a committee or a ranking member of a committee. He's done significant things raising money during campaigns. He's done significant things recruiting candidates around the country. But it's different when you're in the chamber and in the House, having to herd the cats around a piece of legislation. Sometimes getting to yes is the much harder vote to get than it is to vote no. And I think that's one of the things we're seeing.
All right, let's move on. I think a big victory and a big thank you to Fox News, because looky here, President Biden on Sunday is going to finally visit the border. And he's now saying that he hasn't visited because Republicans weren't serious about border security. What say you, Bret Baier?
Well, that's just pure spin. I mean, the administration has not talked about it prior to the election. I don't think they talked about it because of it was a big issue for Republicans, and one that the president really didn't have an answer to. I still don't think they have an answer to. They're kind of fighting it around the edges and then saying Congress has to do the heavy lifting. Yesterday, President Biden said to migrants, don't come to the border. But that's not what candidate Biden said. He said, come, and file for asylum. So it was a mixed message, and one that obviously folks, coming to the U.S. saw as a welcome mat from the Biden administration.
Isn't it just a little too late? And again, what exactly is he going to be doing? Is he going to be going into the shelters, where they're crammed, and, the Democratic mayor of El Paso has already declared a, state of emergency? Or is he just going to walk by the Zaragoza Bridge and look out at Ciudad Juarez and be like, okay, this is good, and then leave and head off to Mexico City?
Likely. I'm sure that the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas will be there talking about what they're doing. This is a visual, and it's a political moment because the House Republicans are in chaos, and in the vacuum, he's dealing with this issue that really Republicans want to be their issue. Remember, Kevin McCarthy said he wanted to bring committee members and actual committee hearings to the border. Now the president's going to be there, and then he's going to go to Mexico. So, listen, what they're physically going to do policy-wise is not a lot. What they're doing visually is saying, we hear you, we're going to deal with the issue. And one more thing, it comes after Gavin Newsom, California governor, went to the border
Oh,
and
that's
did a video saying Democrats need to pay attention to this.
Pritzker's next.
Pritzker's next because if Biden decides not to run for president, Gavin Newsom and our governor Pritzker is going to be running for president. Did you know about that?
I heard that he
heard rumblings.
Considered.
Yeah,
he's considering.
He's got the money to fund it.
Right now, all indications are Biden's going to run again, but that could change.
All right, we'll leave it there. Bret Baier, thank you so much for your time because I know you've been busy. I've been watching you constantly on Fox News, and hopefully after this is all over. So you predict it'll be over early next week or midweek, or what are your thoughts?
I think early next week. Probably, if I had to put money on it, I'd say Monday, Tuesday.
And it will be McCarthy.
Don't know that. I don't know that, but it will come to an end. And I think McCarthy has a slim shot to shoot the gap and get the numbers if people are not showing up, which they won't.
And if not him, who? Scalise, Jim Jordan?
Scalise, probably.
That's
Steve
been my pick.
And then you go to different people that could get Democratic votes. Patrick McHenry, Tom Cole, others. But then you risk really making your base pretty mad. So Scalise is probably the go-to alternative, but right now McCarthy still has the ball to get across the finish line.
All right, Bret Baier, host of Fox News Special Report and the #1 best-selling author of To Rescue the Republic. Thank you so much, Bret Baier, for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you kidding me? Gas prices are up again? Somebody has to do something.
Well, someone did. That's why I use Upside.
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that pays you back real money for every gallon of gas or diesel you buy. I just earned 25 cents back on every gallon of this tank.
Hold on. So the Upside app is free and you actually get cash back every time you use it? No strings attached?
Yep, it's awesome. Check it out. It only takes a couple of minutes to sign up.
Instead of just watching your dollars go into your tank, start putting money back into your wallet with the free